This video is on using Excel. By the end of this video, you should be able to make a graph with a title and axes labels, add a best fit line and display the equation for that line, use a formula to calculate a new data column, and format the graph legend for multiple data sets. Here we have some time and temperature data that we've collected. Notice I've labeled each column so I know what the data in each column means. Now I want to take this data and I want to turn it into a graph. So I'm going to select all of the data and I'm going to come up here and select Charts and Scatter and Marked Scatter. And you'll see that the data gets graphed on the scatter plot. But there's a little bit of work we need to do to this graph since it's not quite a usable graph yet. First, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger by grabbing the corner here. Can also go in the other direction. Now I want to add some things to my graph. I'm going to click on Chart Layout and I'm going to start by adding a title. So I'm going to add a chart title. I'm going to call this Temperature versus Time. And I'm also going to add some axes. So my horizontal axis, we can see here, is time. Be sure to include the unit, so this data was taken in seconds. And my vertical axis is temperature. Again, don't forget to include your unit. Since I only have one data series, I don't need this legend here. That would be if I had more than one data series. So select the legend and just hit delete and it'll get rid of it for you. Now say I wanted to add a best fit line to this data. I'm going to go up to Trend Line, again under Chart Options, select Trend Line, and since this data looks relatively linear, I'm going to select a linear trend line. Notice the equation does not appear automatically with the trend line. In order to get the equation to appear, I want to go back to Trend Line, select Trend Line Options, and again under Options, I want to display equation on chart, and if you want R² values, you can also check that box. Now imagine that I wanted to convert all of my temperature readings from Celsius temperature to Kelvin temperature. You could go in and do a different calculation for each data point, or you can use a formula. So I'm going to start a new column, and I'm going to call this Kelvin temperature so I remember what it is, and then I'm going to click on the next cell. An equals sign indicates that you're entering a formula. The formula I want to use here will take the temperature reading I have, so select the cell that the temperature reading is in, and add 273, since that's the conversion to Kelvin, Celsius temperature plus 273. Hit enter, and Excel does the math for you. If I want to repeat that same procedure in every row, I can go back here, find the little blue box at the corner, and drag it down to the bottom. It now copies that formula in each cell. Notice that each time it takes the temperature reading right next to it. Now I can put all this into a graph as well. Again, select my data, go to Scatter, Marked Scatter, and you'll notice here I have two different data series. Again, I'm going to add a title, and I'm going to add axes labels. Now I want to be able to distinguish between these two data sets. This is why I need a legend. I'm going to go to my legend, and I'm going to hold down the Control button while I click. Now I want to select Data. Here it allows us to give each series a name. So looking first at Series 1, this is the Blues series. This was Celsius temperature. Series 2, the red series, was Kelvin temperature. Click OK, and now we can tell which data series is which. That brings us to the end of this video. Take a second to review these 4 goals and make sure you can do all 4 of these things.